we have
I feel like my handles are a little...
See, why, how is that a thing?
I feel younger here, and they believe in me.
Nah, that was cool. I mean,
The 23rd pick in the draft.
I feel like my handles are a little... Nah, that was cool. I mean,
Is it?
Not taking any time to build on preventing her from getting rivalries here.
Right back.
All right, yeah, let's. Here we go.
If I want to leave the
Who doesn't?
level for women.
And in my hometown, oh yes, the Bay has a squad. The inaugural season of the Golden State Valkyries. So Chanae, let's just look at some of all of this here because we have the Liberty and Aces. They're going to clash here 3 times. All 3 of those are on ABC and ESPN. The Fever and the Sky, they meet 5 times. Caitlin Clark, the revamped Fever, they look to build on their success last season against Angel Reese in the Sky, and then we have a rematch in the WNBA Finals. There's so many rivalries here.
With the 2025 WNBA season just around the corner, the matchup between the Indiana Fever and the Atlanta Dream marks fans' final opportunity to catch preseason action before the regular season officially tips off.
Wilson was the 23rd pick in the draft. One of those players trying to make this roster as Cunningham just fighting through traffic.
You're going to say fight and tough and grit.
Indiana has looked strong this preseason, securing a win over the Washington Mystics with standout performances from Sophie Cunningham, and another victory against the Brazilian women's national team during Caitlin Clark's much-anticipated return to Carver Hawkeye Arena.
All right, yeah, let's go. Good job. Yeah. Woo! Wow, we're going to get some really good stuff out of this film. Okay, we're going to get some really good stuff out of this film.
I think our intensity, our communication, we had a handful of shot clock violations, which is great. Just really good job.
All right, Brayden. Here we go, together.
Both teams entered the game with undefeated preseason records, but Caitlin Clark made sure the Fever closed out their preseason on a high note. She delivered a solid 13-point performance, giving fans a glimpse of the biggest phenomenon in sports. Despite the 81-76 loss, Clark impressed with 13 points on 5 of 11 shooting, along with 6 rebounds and 7 assists in just 23 minutes of play.
The dish on the inside, and the biggest lead for Indiana. To go and right here just creates her own assists, finding Lexi Hole, talked up this 2 seasons about how it feeds their court. Sophie Cunningham getting in on the action on her first triple. Step back triple, and Caitlin not.
One of the key purposes of preseason games is to give rookies a chance to prove themselves and earn a spot on the roster. Former South Carolina Gamecocks guard Tahina Paupau made the most of that opportunity, finishing the game against Indiana with 14 points in 21 minutes. She delivered several highlight-worthy moments, including a big block on Lexi Hole in the second quarter.
Power right back. Her own step back, leaving Caitlin in the dust. Which is cool. Like a nice moment, a great, that's hoops in the purest form. And after the game, she was asked about that moment, and I loved her response. I mean, who doesn't love this response from Tahina Paupau afterwards about what I just showed you there between her and Caitlin Clark.
Paupau spent a significant portion of the game matched up against Fever superstar Caitlin Clark, and in a memorable second quarter sequence, both players nailed step-back 3-pointers in each other's faces on back-to-back possessions.
Just last year, but nonetheless, that's the biggest name in the game, and there is no intimidation factor whatsoever there from Tahina Paupau. So I thought she deserved her own shout-out. Can obviously shoot the rock. Maybe one of those players because of that who goes on to have, a better pro career than you would expect relative to the college production. I guess that's how I would put it. In the Dreamer, an interesting team overall. Alicia Gray didn't have a good game in that one, dealt with something, but is a really good player, obviously. Ryan Howard, a really good scorer, obviously. Neither of them did much. Brittany Griner barely played in the game. But that is a team that has a level of intrigue, considering Griner was shooting the threes, considering the young players that they brought in, and considering the established players they already had. So looking forward to watching Atlanta and Pow Pow.
Following their preseason clash, the Atlanta Dream will open the regular season against the Washington Mystics on Friday. Meanwhile, the Indiana Fever will face off against the Chicago Sky next Saturday, with the Dream aiming to return to the Erie postseason and advance past the first round for the first time since 2016, and the Fever looking to establish themselves as legitimate title contenders. The 2025 WNBA season is shaping up to be an exciting one for both teams. Indiana came out strong in the first quarter, riding the momentum from their dominant win over the Brazilian women's national team at Caitlin Clark's alma mater last weekend. In the opening period, the Fever outscored Atlanta 21-16, with their offense clicking early as Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark combined for 12 points.
I feel younger here, and they believe in me.
Yeah, I think that's to your point, Autumn and Tad, what you said, just the youthfulness of it, and Tahina Pow not taking any time.
On the other hand, Atlanta got a major boost of energy from Tahina Pow Pow off the bench, who scored 5 points in the first quarter.
Sophie Cunningham deciding to reset things. Step back triple. And Caitlin not happy. Wanted the foul as well. There's not a triple for Caitlin Clark, no good, but she is the first in double figures. She has 11, 4 for 7 from the field. Pow Pow returning the favor and does. I like it. Pow Pow said, I'm in double.
I was kind of mad that she scored that 3 on the side.
In the second quarter, Atlanta gained some momentum, outscoring Indiana 24-21 and trimming the Fever's lead to just 2 points at halftime. However, Caitlin Clark picked up a technical foul in the second quarter, marking her first of the preseason.
With her, preventing her from getting those touches.
And Caitlin Clark gets hit with a tech. She was jawing for a while after that foul call on Aaliyah, but this one I think is about her frustration with missing that last 3.
Clark believed a foul should have been called on a bounce pass that was intercepted and turned into a layup by Atlanta's Bria Jones. Frustrated, she threw the ball against the hoop stanchion after the basket, which prompted the referee to immediately call a technical foul on her. This was Clark's first technical of the preseason, after receiving 6 during her rookie season in 2024, just one shy of the threshold that would have led to a suspension without pay for a game. Preseason technicals do not count toward the regular season limit of 7. Meanwhile, the Dream outscored Clark and the Fever in the second quarter, with Tahina Pow Pow leading the way with 11 points.
Last attempt as another Atlanta on a 3, make it 12 to... Step back trip. And Caitlin not happy, wanted the foul as well. Offense. But it started with the right there, Bree Jones with a nice Pembro who slips back door. But Bethany White knows all too well. So for Caitlin Clark, no good.
In the second half, Atlanta continued to chase the Fever, keeping the gap within reach as Tahina Pow Pow and Bria Jones led the charge.
Sophie Cunningham deciding to reset things. Step back triple. And Caitlin not happy. Clark no good, but she is the first in double figures. She has 11, 4 for 7 from the field. Pow Pow returning the favor and does. I like it. Pow Pow said, I'm NCAA star.
Despite keeping the deficit within single digits, the Dream struggled to stop the Fever on the offensive end, preventing themselves from closing the gap. Indiana extended their lead to 11 points early in the fourth quarter and cruised to victory after a scrappy final 3 quarters. Clark finished the game on the bench with 13 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists. In the third quarter, Indiana managed to swing momentum in their favor as Kelsey Mitchell joined the scoring effort.
The third. Finds Bree Jones. She is putting on a clinic in Boston. She can score in a myriad of ways. Might want to patent that scoop that we saw in the latter points.
Shagray finds Ryan Howard. 3-ball, good! It was like a flash that we saw from the jersey as Chatoy Walker was talking to the official about the wrap. Caitlin Clark on the slow to get up. As they have the numbers, and Ali Shagray home for Naz Hillman.
In the fourth quarter, Atlanta tried to mount a comeback, outscoring the Fever by 1 point. However, thanks to the lead Indiana had built through the first 3 quarters, they were able to secure an 81-76 win. Caitlin Clark and Lexi Hull teamed up to help lift the Indiana Fever over the Atlanta Dream in a close 81-76 victory on Saturday, closing out their preseason undefeated.
Kimbrough, yes, she came out of Maryland in 2017, was drafted in the first round, 6th overall.
Another tray ball.
Kelsey Mitchell played a key role in securing the victory, contributing with a fourth quarter surge to finish the game with 14 points. Mitchell wasn't alone, as she also tallied double digits for Indiana, adding 12 points. The Atlanta Dream fought hard, but couldn't overcome Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever in their preseason matchup on Saturday, ultimately falling 81-76. Atlanta might have had a better shot at challenging Clark and the Fever, if not for the early departure of 9-time All-Star Brittany Griner, who left the game after just 2 minutes of play. The good news is that Griner didn't sustain any injury. The Dream simply chose to give the 34-year-old veteran some rest.
He has 11, 4 for 7 from the field. Pow returning the favor, and does!
I like it. Pow said, I'm NCAA.
Griner had to watch the remainder of the game from the sidelines, but on Sunday, she took to Instagram to share her reaction to a notable moment from the contest involving one of her teammates. In the clip, Dream rookie Tahina Pau is seen clapping for Fever star Aaliyah Boston as Boston makes her free throw. Griner couldn't help but react to the moment.
See, why, how is that a thing? But what gets me even more, when you're talking about the greatest players in the SEC, Tina Pau sometimes an afterthought. It made me so upset last season. Some people must have forgot about the greatness of Tina Pau. But one thing that actually makes me so mad, so upset, so mad, is that fans of our own basketball team, the three-time national champion, forgets about Tina Pau, how good this young lady is. Like we're doing starting lineups, and folks be like, oh no.
For context, Pau and Boston share the same alma mater, both having played for the South Carolina Gamecocks before turning pro. However, they never had the chance to be teammates, as Pau arrived right after the Fever selected Boston. During the game, the rookie quickly caught herself, a moment that Griner found amusing. It was Caitlin Clark, though, who led the Fever to victory on Saturday, finishing with 13 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists as Indiana went 3-0 in the preseason.
Level for women's basketball versus playing in the pros. She said when we go traveling and we at hotels, she said first of all, I get my own room. I ain't got to share a room with someone else or even a bed. Sometimes they sleep in the same bed, okay? These college athletes, these college women basketball players, when they're traveling, they stay sometimes in the same room, if not just the same room, the same bed. She said, I don't have to share a room or bed no more. And then she said, 2, I no longer have to ask my coach for permission if I want to leave the hotel, okay?
Much has been made about the muscle Caitlin Clark added during the WNBA offseason. While before and after photos can show the change, the real test is how that added strength translates into on-court performance. It looks like Clark's increased muscle mass could pay significant dividends for the Fever in the 2025 season. This was evident during their 81-76 preseason win over the Atlanta Dream on Saturday. There wasn't anything drastically different about the way Clark played, but the ease with which she executed some of her trademark moves was noticeable.
Also, guys, again, not to be messy or drama-filled, but again, it was just interesting because I spoke about this last season. why does it seem like so many of the bigs, and mainly the other bigs, okay, in the WNBA seem to like to come for Aaliyah Boston? Did y'all see how Naz Hillman, okay, my Eastside Cleveland girl, I'm not sure if she's from Eastside, but I know she's from Cleveland. Yeah, Ohio girly, Midwest girly, Cleveland girly. Okay, Naz Hillman pulled up on Aaliyah Boston. She was kind of giving her the finger. I'm like, what is this, okay? Thinking like, it was all kind of somewhat in jest, okay? But the way Aaliyah Boston was like, looking so defensive, she always looked defensive and confused when she is confronted by the other women in the WNBA. It was like, what do Aaliyah Boston be doing to y'all, okay? She must be messing with y'all, man, because it's been so many women that pull up on her and threaten her. Brittany Griner, now Naz Hillman, it was so many women last year that would get into it with Aaliyah Boston. But thankfully, guys, I forgot to download the link, not the link, but the Naz Hillman's post comments on Twitter, but she has confirmed, okay, she just said, it was lighthearted. Okay.
It seems that Caitlin Clark may have even increased her three-point range, as the effortless nature of her logo-length shots was on full display against the Dream. Clark was balanced on her deep attempts, and each one looked routine despite coming from well beyond the arc. This strong performance also showed up in her drives to the basket and her well-known ability to drop dimes. As a rookie, Clark already shot a better percentage on layups than any guard in the league, and she certainly looked stronger than ever when taking it to the hoop against Atlanta. Although her court vision has always been a strength, the precision and distance she put on her passes from the perimeter were also noteworthy. On the other hand, Brittany Griner and the Dream went 1-1 after securing a win against the Washington Mystics on Tuesday, 80-70. The Fever and the Dream will meet again on May 20 for their first matchup of the WNBA regular season. Tahina Pau spoke with the media after the game, getting honest about her back and forth with Clark. Of course, Pau and Clark faced off during the 2024 NCAA National Championship game, where Pau's Gamecocks defeated Clark's Iowa Hawkeyes. Fever head coach Stephanie White had previously highlighted how Clark's strength gain was one of the biggest reasons to believe the team's superstar could improve upon her rookie season in the WNBA. Seeing her showcase that strength on the court makes it hard to argue with White's assertion.
Want to keep everybody and blah, blah, blah. And to a certain extent, that is true. But a coach, likes certain players more than others. And you can tell Stephanie White has an affinity for Jalen Brown, who in this game had 5 points in 11 minutes, 2 of 3 from the floor. Certainly not afraid.
Coach Stephanie White certainly knows what it takes to win. In her first season with the Fever in 2012, she led them to a title, defeating the Minnesota Lynx 3-1. White, who also played for the Fever from 2000 to 2004, will rely on the all-star trio of Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell as they aim to make back-to-back playoff appearances. Despite the victory, Coach White emphasized that the Fever should have taken better care of the ball in the first half, where they only held a 2-point lead at halftime, at 42-40.
Player minutes in that game. Later in the second half, I saw Sue Bird talking earlier this week and saying if you're playing in the second half of preseason games, it means you're on the chopping block. That's not when you want to get in. Now, Timpson was in with the starters or the main rotation against Brazil. But nonetheless, they've also clearly wanted to give Jalen Brown a shot, and she's stuck around for a long time for a reason. And after the game, Stephanie White was asked pretty much directly about the...
While all of this came in exhibition action, there's no reason to believe Caitlin Clark won't be able to perform similarly against opponents once the games count. The work she put in during the long offseason seems to have paid off, much to the frustration of the Fever's future opponents. On the other hand, the Fever won their previous 2 games in overtime against the Washington Mystics, and in convincing fashion against the Brazil national team.
No, that was cool. I mean, that's a lot of love. I feel lots of love here in the South, and I love ATL, and I just appreciate the fan love, and hopefully we can keep it pushing. I feel like my handles are a little...
On the other hand, the Dream secured a big win of their own over the Mystics on Wednesday, thanks to a strong performance from Brittany Griner, who led the way with a double-double, and Nia Coffey, who came close to a double-double of her own. Hopefully, these two teams will face off many more times in the future.